Welcome back, legends. I hope you're all amazing. I did a video the other day with this Marshall JVM, and a bunch of you wanted to know how well the real amp compares to the Fractal models, and we heard a quick comparison going back and forth between the amplifier on the OD1 orange and OD2 orange modes and their equivalent models on the Axe-Fx. I'll talk you through the little test setup, and then we'll have a look at a few things that I've done in the amp block to get it really close. In order to test this, I'm running my guitar, which is a Les Paul Custom with a burst bucket 2 in the bridge position, over to this Layla P-split. This lets me split my signal to the front of the JVM and the front of the Axe-Fx. It also isolates and removes any ground noise on there, so I can do all of this relatively quietly. The amplifier and the amp model have the exact same settings with a couple of caveats. The amp has a channel volume for each channel and a master volume. And what I have found has sounded the closest is cranking up the channel volume on the amp and setting the master volume on the amp to match the amp model, or I should say the amp model to match the master volume, whatever way around you want to think about it. And because I'm running the output of the amp into the Fractal X load, in the amp block, I have set the speaker impedance curve to the X load UK mode. That's the same one that I'm using on the real load box. I've also turned speaker thump, speaker compliance, speaker compression, and speaker drive all the way down. One other tweak that I found worked really well on here, I got quite close just by using the authentic settings and changing that impedance curve, but I'm using the 8 ohm tap on the amplifier, and I found turning the negative feedback down on the model matched the overall response and feel just that little bit better. After running a couple of calculations, I think maybe the amp is modeled with the 16 ohm speaker tap on there, because if you work out the negative feedback for a 4, 8, or 16 ohm speaker tap on a JVM, and then you scale the default value in the amp model down by the amount to get you to the same value as the 8 ohm tap, you get a value of 3.5. And I found that sounded really, really close on them. Furthermore, if you look at the tone match that I did on here, and again, this is nice because I can do a live tone match. I've got the amp and load box and the model running at the same time through that P-split. Just crank the smoothing up on here, and you can see this sort of EQ curve is pretty darn flat, and that works for both models on there. So basically, is the JVM model or the JVM models in the Axe-Fx, are they accurate? I think so, yeah. I think they're pretty much bang on over there. Set them where you like, crank them up. You can get under the hood, and if you really wanted to match the sound with a load box, you could set all of these. Or if you wanted a more authentic response out of the impedance curve and things like the speaker thump, you could do that as well. To finish, I'll just give you that intro blast again, but I will let you see whether I'm using the amp model or the actual amplifier on there. If you've got any other questions, let me know in the comments section below. If you want to support my channel directly, you can check out some of the music that I make with my band Ragdoll. You can grab my Fractal Blocks library, which will have these updated settings in there. And you can also grab my free IR that I'm using for this video just by following the link in the video description. I think the lesson here is that we should all just shut up and play our guitars. See you next time. Thank you.